There we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dion's Daily Dose for Wednesday, August 26th, 2020. For those of you who have seen some of the DNC convention, some of the RNC convention, I think you'll agree there's a stark contrast. But this contrast really wasn't that apparent to me until I heard from someone that has a different opinion than me. At least did for many, many years. My mother-in-law was a staunch Democrat, very, very staunch. Dave, good to see you. She believed the propaganda that the D Party was the party of the people. It represented labor, all these things. The things that prior to 2016, most of your moderate average Democrats seem to believe. The night of the first RNC convention, right? I'm sitting there later on in the evening and I get a text from her. Hold on, let me see if I can autofocus this a bit. See if it's better. There we go. I get a text from my mother-in-law, and she'll randomly text stuff that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense sometimes, but this was very much on point. I'm gonna share it with you. I shared it on Twitter. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, you can see it there, but I'm gonna show you the text that I got. I'm gonna read it to you. It says, "I know it is late, but I had to text you. Have you watched the Republican National Convention? It is night and day difference. The Dems told me basically that I was a piece of crap racist who needed to be re-educated, and they were the only ones who can save democracy. It was so dark. The Repubs told us that I am worthwhile and able to accomplish great things, and our country is great. The speakers they had were regular people who had real life experiences. Whoever designed the videos was a genius, straightforward listing Trump's actions versus Corona and all the other issues. Looking forward to watching the rest. Thanks for listening." So this is kind of the takeaway. And let me be very clear. Prior to 2016, she would not have ever thought of voting Republican. She was, like a lot of the people that I've worked with in the past, like a lot of the people that I've known, convinced that Republican was the party of rich old people. They were out of touch with the regular man and all this other stuff that the Democrats have been telling us for many, many years. That really does sum it up. Her message really kind of sets the tone for the two. The DNC convention, and she didn't even get into the politics of it or where this person stands or where that person stands. It was just the overall message. I've talked to her since, and she's elaborated on that. But her and her sister, my aunt-in-law, I guess, were very, very left. They believed in the message of the Democrats. They believed in we need to go further for women's equality. We need to do this. We need to do that. She watched in horror as Nancy Pelosi tore up the speech. She's seen these cities across the nation where the Democrat governors, mayors, are not doing anything. They're allowing this destruction. And unfortunately, as we saw in Kenosha, some people have been injured and some people have been outright killed because of the things that come from these riots. These are not demonstrations. These are not protests. These are riots that involve the destruction of property and other things. I actually just ran across this before I went live. I want to show you something. Now, I don't know anything about this website that I am about to show you, so I'm not advocating for it or anything like that. Again, I don't know anything about the website. But what I did see on this website is a video from CNN, of all places, where the mother of Jacob Blake actually speaks out. And let me share this with you so you can see what's going on here. Again, I don't know anything about the website that it took me to. I just clicked on the link. I was like, wow. But here's what the story says. It says, mother of Jacob Blake shatters BLM narrative, goes on CNN and apologizes to President Trump for missing his call. She also condemns the rioting. The article itself states, finally, a reasonable voice emerges from the horrible shooting of Jacob Blake and subsequent rioting and deaths over the past 4 days. Riots erupted in Kenosha, Wisconsin, just 30 minutes south of Milwaukee late Sunday after Blake was shot by Kenosha police. Responding to a domestic incident, Blake had an outstanding warrant out for his arrest. Businesses have been burned and looted, and 2 people were killed late Tuesday as the riots entered their 3rd consecutive night. As the blame game swirls around our nation, the mother of the suspect who was shot, which caused the chaos in the city of 100,000 people, just shattered the narrative and did it on CNN of all places. During an interview with CNN's anchor Don Lemon, Julia Jackson, the mother of Jacob Blake, vehemently condemned the violence happening in Kenosha over the shooting of her son, and also apologized to President Donald Trump for missing his call. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have watched the video. I'm not going to play it for you, but I'll give you the link if you want to go check it out. It says, this is a quote, Jackson, speaking to CNN host Don Lemon, said she is hurt and disgusted by the community's response. Quote, my family and I are very hurt and quite frankly disgusted. And as his mother, please don't burn up property and cause havoc and tear your own homes down in my son's name, Jackson said. When asked by Lemon whether she has a message for politicians, Jackson used the opportunity to apologize to the president for missing his personal phone call and for comments that another family member had made about him. Quote, for our president, Trump, first, I want to say a family member and I don't know if it was hurt or not, said something that was not kind. She is hurting and I do apologize for that. Our outburst does not reflect our behavior. And then also for President Trump, I'm sorry I missed your call because had I not missed your call, maybe the comments that you made would have been different, Jackson said. She added, I'm not mad at you at all. I have the utmost respect for you as the leader of our country. Like I said before, and I'm not saying this to him directly, we should always get the details from the right source before we start throwing bricks. Here's the video here, and it does say all those things. It also, I might add, when it gets into it a little later, it also says that to all the politicians, start focusing on facts. Stop throwing stuff out there that you don't have the source for. Stop talking about things that you don't know if they're true or not. Facts first. And I agree wholeheartedly. We have people that are just randomly sharing stuff. Look, regular people, you share whatever you want. But especially our politicians, the people that have been elected to represent their districts either locally or in Washington, right? You have to confirm this stuff before you start sharing it and talking about things without all the facts. That's why I try to be very, very careful about the statements that I make and the things that I say, because I should be held to a higher standard. I can't just randomly go off on some tangent about some random story that I read that may or may not be true. Had this not had the source video, I can't share this. I don't know if it's accurate. I did watch the video. You can watch it as well. The tone changes a little bit later when they start getting Ben Crump to give his sense. But I will say my heart goes out to that mother, and I have a lot of respect for her. She even says in the video, myself, my family, we have a lot of respect for authority. And of course, Don Lemon does what Don Lemon does and tries to talk about, well, was there an argument? Was there this? Was there that? It doesn't matter. That's a whole other thing. But like the lady said, it's really important that the people that are elected to higher offices hold the truth sacrosanct. I mean, you have to do your due diligence before you start randomly sharing stuff. Anyway, And that includes putting out messages, right, that may be incorrect, stuff like that. And I don't know exactly what she was referring to when she was talking about how things might have been different. I don't know what message was stated, but that aside. So, switching tracks here for a moment. When you look, and really seriously look at this, we're looking at November, right? And my election aside, we are truly looking at a different America, one way or another. We are looking at, depending on the results of the election, because anyone who actually believes that if Joe Biden gets into office, things are just going to go back to Obama years, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's not the reality. The Democrat Party has moved so far to the left. The progressive agenda that is being pushed, a lot is going to change. I don't know about you, but I teach my child that everyone is equal. No one is above or below anyone else. We all are human beings and we all have human rights. The left, are you okay? You good? Okay. Sorry, I thought I heard something. The left has pushed the narrative that all of us are racists, that there are no good people out there, or very tiny percentages of people are good, but the majority of you are horrible human beings, right? That's what they would have you believe. And it's good to see that people that were formerly of the left starting to wake up, starting to understand that that narrative that's been pushed is not correct. The majority, the massive majority, not just a little bit, not 51%, but the massive majority of people, Americans included, are good people who believe that equality is here, right? Are there things we can improve? Always. There's no such thing as perfection except from God, right? Humans are incapable of perfection. So, yes, there's room for improvement. But this constant browbeating of if you don't do this, if you don't do that, if you don't put these people above you, then that's not equality. I'm tired of that message. I am tired of it, and many others are tired of it. I will represent the people who believe differently than me, just like I will represent the people who believe the same as me. They are all equal. But one thing I won't do is go and call people names and degrade them because than I do. And I think anymore, fundamentally, that's what separates the left from the right. Are there people on the right who do that? Absolutely. But I'm telling you, the majority of people who are quietly going to go into that voting booth and quietly going to vote for President Donald Trump, they don't have an agenda. They don't hate you. They're not angry with you. They're tired of being told they're this, that, and that, right? They're tired of being told that if you don't vote the way I want you to, then you're a horrible human being. I'm tired of it. I know that. The future of this country is absolutely at stake. And I urge anyone before you vote, and not just for me, right? Not just for me, not just for Trump, for any office, before you cast your vote, don't cast your vote for someone because you recognize the name. Don't vote for someone because you've seen billboards. Vote for someone because you believe in what that person represents. Vote for someone because you believe, most importantly, that that person will do what you want them to do. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, it's a heavy responsibility in this country to vote. It really is. And more importantly than anything else, I think it comes down to what direction do you want the United States of America to go in? Trump is not perfect. I haven't heard anyone claim he's perfect. But it's either an America First agenda, an America First set of policies moving forward, or it's the alternative. And we've seen how that's worked out for years and years and years. Dave, you make an excellent point. We don't go into a restaurant and demand you raise your fist. And he's talking about the right. We are not going out there demanding that you get on your knees or lick boots or raise your fist in a certain gesture. Those are examples of people enforcing their will upon others. And that's the very definition of tyranny and fascism. I don't know what else to say, ladies and gentlemen. I will say this. You know what? I talked a little bit during a podcast interview. I don't have the link for it yet. They said it should be ready by Sunday so that I can give you the link so you can check it out. It'll be an audio only SoundCloud. But during it, one thing that I said and I've noticed is when I go out and I'm meeting people, right? And one of their very first questions, right? R or D. Okay, I can understand that. But one thing I get is, what do you think of Trump? On the one hand, I get it, right? I get it, especially for the people who hate him so much that if you like Trump, if you voted for Trump, then you couldn't possibly be a good representative. That's how they feel. On the other side, it's if you hate Trump, then you couldn't possibly be a good representative. This is the defining future for both parties. I would say definitively for both parties, but the parties are different than they used to be in many, many ways. And I don't know how that's going to change post-election, regardless of which side happens. But I will tell you this, and this is where I'm going to kind of leave it at. When you look at the policies that are being proposed by Joe Biden, when you look at the policies that are being pushed, they are so far left. They encompass the Green New Deal. They encompass a lot of things that I believe the average American does not believe in. And more importantly, one thing that I would like to call your attention to is during the convention, DNC, I did not hear anyone speak out against the violence. I haven't heard any Democrat at all. And maybe I'm missing it. By all means, if you find one, let me know. None of them are saying, hey, stop hurting people. None of them are saying, stop burning down businesses. I am all for protesting. It's your right. It's your right. But hurting people, destroying homes, destroying businesses, destroying property, assault, those are not protected. Those are crimes. I haven't heard the left come out and say anything about this. I haven't heard them say, look, protest, but stop destroying things. You have to wonder why. I know why. But if you're considering voting Democrat, you really got to stop and ask, why would they not say anything about this? It's all about an agenda. It's all about getting people to do what they want. And that's really what it comes down to. Just like, I don't know if you saw it, but Hillary Clinton, look it up. Hillary Clinton told Joe Biden, do not concede on election night. Quote, no matter what. Really? Really? Because according to her, it's going to take a very long time to figure out the actual winner. I'm so over it, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really am. And I just don't know how much further we have to go into crazy land before we finally figure out that there's so much political garbage going on. Dave, you're absolutely right. Dave says peaceful assembly is different from protests. It is. There is nothing wrong with peaceably assembling. Nothing wrong whatsoever. Some of us are utilizing it very soon for a wide variety of things, right? Whether it's back to blue, whether it's BLM, whether it's whatever, you have the right to peaceably assemble. But when you start doing damage, that's a completely different story. When you start committing crimes, it's a completely different story. That's generally what it comes down to. And I'm going to tell you, I have seen people who have been lifelong hardcore Democrats prior to the 2016 election. I have seen them wake up and I have seen them say, holy cow, what has happened? What has happened to this party? And we've seen those of you who, I tell you another really quick story, or then I'll end it. My mother-in-law, right? Like I said, she was a hardcore Democrat for pretty much her whole life. I showed her where the KKK actually came from. I showed her the voting record for the Republicans, and I also showed her that the first black legislators were members of the Republican Party. These were all things she had no idea about, because that, oh, the party switched narrative was sold so well. And remember, not to go off on a big tangent, but remember that the teachers' unions control the schools. If you control the schools, you control the education. If you control the education, you control the next generation. And that's a really deep rabbit hole, but we know what's going on. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will let you return to your evening. There is a lot more coming up from some guests that I'm getting lined up for you. It's going to be awesome. So again, thank you for joining me this evening, and feel free to reach out, right? Sign up if you'd like to help. There's a number of things that I could use assistance with. I'm trying to get some really cool stuff going on. Email me, talk@dionbergeron.com. And for anything, whether you'd like to come on the show, whether you'd like to, if you know someone that you think would make a great guest, or donate, right? If you got a few extra bucks, a few dollars makes a world of difference. It really does, especially when a lot of people do it, right? You can donate online at my website, dionbergeron.com, or you can mail them to Dion Bergeron for Indiana, 1018 Providence Street, Michigan City, Indiana, 46360. Thanks for coming out, and God bless you. God bless Indiana. God bless the United States of America.